So anyway, that's how I ended up with a cheetah on a jet ski in Mexico.
That's pretty awesome.
That sounds like
It's
a
a
crazy
great
time.
story.
I want to start every podcast with some absurd story, but I'm not that funny. Anyway, we're live, Eric?
We're live.
All right. Well, I suppose I'll take over as DJ, VJ, what's a video jockey?
Oh, VJ.
Yeah, you know, what a...
What's a VJ?
I don't know.
PJ, podcast jockey today. So we are talking about...
It feels like it's not real because we can't see the comments yet.
I know. No, nobody can see us
don't-
if we can't see them talking.
Yeah.
But we're talking drivetrain or driveline options, perks, downsides, everything. All-wheel drive, front-wheel drive, rear-wheel drive. We have all three in our platforms.
I see.
Yeah.
See, I had no idea what we were even talking about until I just, the same time you guys figured it out. I could see this being a pretty good one.
Yeah, I'd
Yeah.
say so. And we got some peeps on here that have experience in all three, if not two. Al, you're kind of only one.
Oh, I have some rear-wheel drive experience.
Like a lawnmower.
Well, hey, let's not split hairs here. It was rear-wheel drive with the welded axle.
That's okay. It's not my favorite.
I mean,
not bad.
I thought lawnmowers were like a straight axle or something.
No, a lot of them have open diff.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Huh, all right. Well, you learn
Can
something
you
new every day.
weld them and take them through the McDonald's drive-thru going...
Absolutely.
So today on the podcast we have me, Tyler,
I'm Al.
I'm Tim.
I'm the other Tyler.
and we got Tyler Spain over there. He is one of our receiving and warehouse associates. He is a wheelman behind his 2015?
2017.
2017 Subaru WRX. So he's going to be
He's
our...
one of them rich peoples.
He's got a new car. But yeah, so I don't know. Where do we start?
I mean, I know I've had all platforms. You know,
Yeah.
I've had all drive lines.
Right off the bat, it's very dependent on what you're going to do with the car.
Yeah,
So much.
completely.
So like we have to, we got to pick a lane that we can go down first, and then after we're done, we'll go to another lane.
Let's start with the lamest one. Drag
Road
racing.
course.
Yep, we're good. Drag racing, all-wheel drive seems like the logical choice,
But it's not.
but it's not. I mean,
Well, okay. We'll do
yes and
quarter
no.
mile.
yeah,
Rear-wheel drive tends to win.
tends to.
Like the absolute fastest cars on the planet are rear-wheel drive. Now, granted, it's not exactly practical to try to make a top fuel stretched out dragster all-wheel drive. I get that.
That would be a long
But
drive shaft.
even when you pull it back to the limitations of what a typical, like even a pro mod, something that looks like a car, a typical wheelbase, the fast ones are rear-wheel drive.
Yeah, I mean, if you can hook up, these guys are hooking 2-tire cars.
yeah.
So, and weight transfers back, so, you know, logically thinking, you know, rear-wheel drive would be the best option for a vehicle that you always have traction.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I've had all-wheel drive Eclipses, a few of them, and, I mean, they're straight, they're street race kings.
Yeah.
Oh,
Like,
yeah.
I've won so many races that at a drag strip I would have lost on the street with my all-wheel drive car.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it was running like, at the time when I was the most infamous around town, it ran like 1240s.
Whew.
But I was beating mid 10-second cars on the street.
Yeah, because you could actually hook up
I'm
and
gonna
launch.
while you guys talk, I'm
Yep.
gonna look up something that's relevant to this.
And on the note of what's best, I would say there's probably a pretty good sweet spot for all-wheel drive. Because, you know, obviously big Pro Mod, you know, those cars are rear-wheel drive, they're lifting tires, all that. But you can get a pretty solid 60-foot out of an all-wheel drive car. So in my thinking here, you know, you're starting out, if you've got enough tire and you can launch an all-wheel drive car. I mean, what was your did you ever take your talents to the track?
Yeah.
What type of 60 foots do they run?
Like 1/6s.
That's really respectable.
Which, with our current platforms, like 1/6s aren't really that great.
Yeah.
But that was on like a total street tire.
Yeah.
Like you could run 1/6 60-foot on an all season
Uh-huh.
at the drag strip, like no problem. So that was the cool part because I had the money for the mods, but I never really had great tires on the car.
Yeah.
Some cheap summer tires usually what I ran. But I don't know. I've seen rear drive guys hook them on the street. It just takes a lot of work.
Yeah. Yeah,
You
it
know,
does.
so
It's a proper setup.
possible.
I don't know if you guys have seen, but there's a video going around of this Skyline. It's either gray or black, but it's still all-wheel drive. But probably for the first 30 foot, his front wheels are off the ground, and it looks like just.
I think
straight
that's why
violence.
it's such an equalizer, because quarter mile is so focused on the launch, and the better you launch, the less
work
weight
you
you have
do.
on the front tires.
Yep.
It kind of makes sense, but I pulled up Drag Import News, which is like the unofficial list of most relevant cars. If we go to the, let's say, top 10 4-cylinder period, just 4 cylinders so that it's a consistent variable.
Uh-huh.
We got King Carl with the Ecotec, 595. Number 2 is a 6.14, and number 3 is a 6.2. Now those are pro mods, but they're rear-wheel drive 4-cylinder. If we go to all-wheel drive 4-cylinder, number 1 is Devon with the Demon V2
Yep.
at 704. Number 2 is 726. Number 2 is 738.
So they're a full second behind.
They're a full second behind. The all-wheel drive guys are. Now, let's say we
Is
want to make
Devin
this.
making the same power as those pro mod cars?
Devon's also stock chassis. All those all-wheel drive cars were, and they conveniently have a front-wheel drive stock chassis list as well. So front-wheel drive stock chassis,
Speed Factory guys.
738 Speed Factory, 7.4, and the 7.4. So the front-wheel drive stock chassis is within 0.2 of what all-wheel drive was, which that surprises me.
That
I
does.
did not realize they were that close.
I didn't either. I would imagine there's got to be something to do with how committed these guys are and who they are, because I'm going to guess the all-wheel drive cars probably pull it off a little easier than the front-wheel drives. Just from my own experience at ZZP with Matt's car, Matt he went to the drag strip a lot, and the track day sucked.
Yeah.
He just wasn't going to run a good time that day, no
Yeah.
matter what he did. And that's one downside of a front-wheel drive car.
Yeah.
Is that you can totally get screwed over by the track just sucking that day.
Oh my gosh.
Even the number 1 pro mod front wheel drive, like the Red Bull GM cars, is only a 7.102. So stock chassis all wheel drive is still quicker than that by a tiny bit.
So,
But yeah, you go to rear wheel drive and they're more than a second ahead.
Yeah.
yeah,
And part of that too is having a drive line that can withstand that type of power and launches. Because we all know how quickly you find weak points in especially a front wheel drive drivetrain. So typically the components in an all-wheel drive system are smaller because they have to withstand less overall force because it's spread out further. But now if you talk about obviously you get into rally stuff like that where all-wheel drive is kind of needed. But it is always interesting with road course guys how all-wheel drive is
irrelevant.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's kind of nice, but really,
I don't know. I'm curious to see what your opinion is, but on a road course, I prefer front-wheel drive. I've raced both. I have more experience in a rear-wheel drive car than a front-wheel drive car, and I kind of enjoy the front-wheel drive a little better.
See, without ever having actually done it, my perspective is different, but maybe in a useful way. And we talked about this the other day. I have this very annoying ability of understanding things to a far greater degree than I could put into words. But when I look at just the basic physics of how the cars function, it makes sense to me that a front-wheel drive could be potentially faster. Just knowing how you're able, if you have enough traction on the front end, how you can pretty much drag the rear end through a corner. Whereas with the rear-wheel drive, there's going to be a traction limit and a slip angle limit, and nothing you do is going to get you through the corner quicker.
Yep.
Yeah, but and to the same point, there's always that if you really dumb it down to your tires can only do one thing. At least with a rear-wheel drive car, the drive wheels are the rear and your fronts are steering. So, again, you probably pass a point at some speed or some level where that doesn't really matter. But to most people going out there, they'd be like, oh, well, I like rear-wheel drive. I can power the car out of a corner. But then on front-wheel drive, too, if you're oversteering, you just yap the gas. And
one way of looking at it might be that on a front-wheel drive car, if you're powering out of a corner, the tires are still kind of only doing one thing. They're in a specific direction, and they are trying to go that direction. Whereas with the rear-wheel drive car, the rear is trying to push the car straight.
And then you're trying
and
to
you're
turn it.
taking weight off of the front, whereas it's trying to turn.
Yeah.
Well, and if you spin your tires on a road course, you suck as a driver. I'm going to go ahead and say that. Like, if you are turning that corner fast enough, you're going fast enough to not spin your tires. Mm-hmm. And if you are spinning your tires, either you're running a all season on it, or like you're just not turning the corner fast enough.
Yeah. That's part of it.
At Gingerman, what's the slowest turn? 55? Turn 11 or turn 1 is a 55 mile an hour turn with a 200 treadwear tire with a all basic suspension mods.
Yeah.
55 miles an hour with a hot tire on a hot track. Like, what's spinning the tires there?
Now, in the Camaro, because it's an open diff, last year I was spinning the rear a lot, and it didn't do anything. So that was unfortunate. But, yeah, and all-wheel drive, in theory, having 4 drive wheels could pull you out of corners better, but it doesn't ever seem to equate to that.
Is it going to be better, though? Because I feel like that would just make the rear one to slide more.
I guess it's how it's biased, too.
At least with front-wheel drive, the rear tires are not trying to do anything.
No, they're just along for the ride.
Yeah.
Now...
Oh, I almost forgot. Before we get too far into that direction, to wrap up the drag racing stuff, all-wheel drive does, at least as of now, have a pretty solid advantage in half-mile racing. But it is not dedicated or focused on the launch. It's ran off of your trap speed, and it's ran on dusty airport runways.
Yeah.
And so, but that kind of goes...
It's kind of comparable to the street racing.
It goes back to what you were originally saying. Yeah,
Yeah.
It kind of goes back to the street racing, to where they can get traction on the top end, where a lot of the rear-wheel drive cars, they're just constantly trying to keep the rear of the car in the rear.
Yeah.
Is their limiting factor.
And when you listen to the really fast guys, I mean, they're almost to the half mile and still spinning, and you can hear them fuel cutting and trying to keep them at bay. Like Gringo Tegra Miles, he's got an all-wheel drive conversion on his Integra, and I mean that thing's silly.
Yeah.
I'll grab this one because it's a good question that we get often. Is why haven't we ever done an all-wheel drive or rear-wheel drive conversion for Cobalts?
Well,
and it's something we've talked about.
Kind of the reasons we were just talking about.
Yeah.
They're good at what they do when you use them for things that they're good at.
And they're properly set up.
Statement.
So the thing that's always gone around is, make an all-wheel drive Cobalt. It'd be cool. It would be cool. But you're limited to, you got to find, as we know now, a manual F40 all-wheel drive Saab. And then you'd have to swap all of that over, and you would also have to probably fab up something in the rear for the suspension, because those use an independent rear
Yeah.
compared to the beam. And the beam is kind of a limiting factor in all those
I mean,
things.
it would be unique.
Yeah.
But the cost per benefit
Oh
ratio
my
is just
gosh.
not there.
Right.
Yeah. If your car comes from the factory all-wheel drive, it's great. But
Yeah, to turn a car all-wheel drive, you're kind of taking a loss as far as profit versus fun.
Yeah.
You're just getting cool points of that.
Yeah, it briefly crossed my mind doing it to my car with actually I had talked to T-Spain about it with the STI dropout. And like Aaron happened to have one up on the lift and he went out and measured some things for me, and like if I put the engine front south, the valve cover would be about right where the hood latch is, and the axles would be lined up. The shifter would only be like 2 inches farther back than it is now. Like I could make it fit and I could make it work, but that's a lot of work for then. I don't even know what the goal would be other than just having an all-wheel drive car. I mean, at least with the front-wheel drive half-mile stuff, there's a specific goal that I'm going for.
yeah,
And
and then that takes away kind of what you eventually will be working for.
Right.
And, well, are now. T-Spain needs to be closer to the mic.
You need to be closer to the mic.
Fox and Wolf. Oh, Fox and Wolf must be... what's his name? That's been bugging the GM guys about the old all-wheel drive Ion.
Oh, Grabert.
Yep.
Is that you, Grabert?
Skylar, we have never broken anything in an all-wheel drive car, but it's been a while since we've pushed it. Matt had a 7163 or 6758 all-wheel drive ATS that went 12 something.
1199.
Yeah,
11
11
or something.
I think 1199 sounds
That
right.
was very minimal effort too.
Yeah, it really was. I mean, we've learned so much on that platform. Like, I can't imagine how easily we could.
We
run.
haven't even owned well, I guess we technically do now, but we haven't owned an active all-wheel drive car the entire time that I've been here.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think he did that back in 15, 16.
The car was long gone by the time I even started here.
Yeah, it'd be neat to see.
I do like Log Trimmer, nice name, Log Trimmer's comment about how every company does take a different approach to the all-wheel drive stuff. Like if you look at the way Evos and Subarus go about it, they're vastly different in their function. And then even the Honda, even within the Honda world, there's a couple different systems, the way they operate it. The most widely used for like a sport compact platform seems to be like a rear assist.
Yeah, that's kind of why I see or at least when I was working in the shop more often, it was a lot of like electronic assist differentials. So they'd only kick on really for like if they notice a tire slipping.
Right.
So it doesn't really do a lot of the time.
Yep. And that's the way like the Honda, specifically like what's in the Element, it uses a mechanical version of that where basically in the rear end there's two oil pumps that feed each other. So as long as they're going the same speed, nothing happens. They're just pumping fluid back and forth. So like when you're rolling down the road. But if the front tires spin, then the front pump is turning faster than the rear pump, and that makes pressure build up on one side, and that pressure runs to a clutch pack that engages the rear.
Oh, that's neat.
So as soon as your front tires grip, the rear stops.
Yep.
But the amount of force applied to that rear clutch pack is directly proportional to the speed difference between the front and rear. That's why it's such a pain in the butt to get it to do donuts in the winter, because you got to like whap it a couple times and really get the rear tires spinning, and then you can stay in it and get her to go around.
So side tangent, all-wheel drive is the most fun in the winter, though.
Oh, absolutely.
For sure. For sure. Front wheel drive's kind of boring. You just got to yank the e-brake a lot.
Yeah. Little sliding around.
I don't know the details of how the Audi system works, but I know it works very well.
Yes.
Yeah, I have no idea. I've never looked into it.
I've seen the commercials where they drive through 48 feet of snow.
That's a lot of snow. One thing where I would think, again, that all-wheel drive would be very beneficial would be autocross, because it is so much lower speed.
I suppose if you are making a lot of power, like I will say, like my ATS-V in an autocross doesn't work.
No.
No, like choose a different car. Too much directional change, too much power. So all-wheel drive I could see would be beneficial there. But yeah, one thing too, like one thing I hear a lot of people say, and I don't know, probably not enough people are gonna hear me say today, but I hate it when I hear people say like, I'm not gonna I don't want to road course my front-wheel drive car, or like something along those lines. I mean, besides the characteristics of having, a front-wheel drive, all-wheel drive, rear-wheel drive car on track, like they're all equally fun.
Yeah.
Like all of them. And, like I said before, like if you're going fast enough, you're not going to have traction problems with any of the drive lines. Even my ATS-V, I raced at 600 wheel and I wasn't spinning the tires ever.
Yeah.
Like it was always hooking because the tires are hot, track's hot. You're going 55 plus mile an hour. I mean, it's, the tires being hot is crucial. I mean, what do all drag guys do before they do a pass? A big burnout to heat up their tires. Like, you're on a road course for 20 freaking minutes. Like
Those boys are boiling.
You're trying to figure out how to cool the tires down.
Yeah.
Well, I'm going to guess all of us have done reverse donuts in front-wheel drive.
Yeah.
Have I done any in the last 10 years? No. But, yeah, I've probably done hundreds when I was 17.
Guy who autocross.
Matt said 11:55. All right, yeah, my bad there.
Yeah, I think the video that he has is from when it was 11:9, but 11:5. That's pretty fast. Until what's September 14th?
That's when he's gonna not hit the record. Dan Brown, I do want to answer that one. As far as I can tell, all the M32s have equal drawbacks, but we've been able to work around it so far.
Our bank is Odell's old car.
Oh yeah.
So in our Drag Sonic, it is a 1.8 base model trans that I put those gears on the shafts and final drive out of an RS. It's one of the few hybrid combinations that you can actually get away with the M32 because there's a couple different bearing retention systems on the shafts. But of the available stock parts, that was the best possible combo we could throw together. And realistically, those transmissions are so easy to work on that I would dare say most people could do that swap.
Well, and for someone on the street driving any manual Sonic, you're not going to run into the issues that we did.
Nah.
I mean, the biggest thing was the 1-2 shift, and we tore up all the teeth on the second gear.
We've broke synchros, and we've broken one diff. The rest of the transmission has been fine.
Totally fine.
And we're pretty much just sidestepping the clutch at whatever boost it'll let us make.
Yeah, like to add to that, Dan Brown, his comments just about off the screen. Z04 with a stock RS Sonic, yes, it is completely fine.
Do whatever you want.
We put a Z04 on our White Cruise. You might have seen the videos. Like, it's got 100 and something thousand miles on it. I'm not nice to it at all. It's got a whole bunch of full throttle passes. No worries, no issues.
Yep.
And as they were saying, the tranny, like Tyler's sidestepping the clutch and no lift shifting a car with 600 wheels.
And
so
missing
a
gears all
Z04
the
making a Z04 making 250 to 295 wheel horsepower will be completely fine.
And
you can roast the synchros on a bone stock car. That has nothing to do with the power level.
Yeah.
And you can break an axle if you sidestep the clutch on street tires with loose suspension components too. So, I mean, it definitely requires not being a dummy.
Yeah.
But yeah, a stock engine, no problem.
And on the auto note, we've never broken one. I mean, the blue car makes 250-ish,
somewhere around there,
something like that. That's totally fine. The one
probably gonna make more this winter.
The one guy who Stephen Marjason, he thought he blew up his trans with a 400 wheel Zona setup. Wasn't the trans, still together. So far, even the
Good
autos
news.
are good in they can hold power. They are not the best auto.
They
out
still
there.
require a high power tax.
Yes.
In order to put it to the wheels. But we haven't broken one or seen one broken purely from power yet.
And I saw one comment earlier up, the all-wheel drive Sonic project that we kind of started last year. We got a lot of the components. We have one of the transmissions that's needed. Will it ever come to light?
I think so.
Hopefully.
The thing is, like, if I just wanted to cram the crap into the car just to make it work and have a cool thing, we could have done that already.
Which is what Trifecta did.
Right, effectively. But the whole point of doing this is seeing if we can actually do it in a way that's feasible for a customer to recreate. Like if there's certain mounts or components, things that you can't get yourself, and we can provide that, similar to like the F40 swap kit. It doesn't provide the trans, it provides the pieces that you need in order to do this swap on your own. And so that's the way I was kind of looking at that, because the components are easily found in junkyards and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. So once we have time, which will be in like 60 years, I do want to revisit that project, but the reason it's taken so long, one of the reasons, is because of that approach to it. Because I'm not going to just, force my way through it and make it work. I'm going to make sure I do things in a way that we could actually have something that customers can use.
Yep.
PMB Slayer 99. 42s, I mean, obviously I can make any injector work on any turbo. It just depends on how much boost I can turn it up to. You're not going to get the full power out of a Z04 with 42s, unfortunately. Mm-hmm. I have a full bolt-on V3 car, and it's absolutely maxing the 42s on the 85 with a V3. And that's with me unlocking the FSCM and cranking up the full throttle fuel pressure. So if you don't already have the injectors, just go right to 60s.
Yeah.
I am a big fan of 42s. So 42s are amazing for every car except a Z04 car. Like, GTX 250s, I don't care. You can run a 42 on that tiny, worthless turbo. Shots fired. But yeah, on the Z04, a turbo that makes really good power, just go for 60s.
You know, it's not really even a shots fired thing, because we had 2 cars in recently with those turbos, and I really did try to put everything out of my mind and just go drive the car and see how it felt. And both of them I
did not like. I did not like them at all.
It spooled like a Z04 and made the power of a V3.
There's no, like...
It carries power out to 7,000 RPM, but the reason why it does it is that it doesn't make the same power of the V3, so you just don't achieve the same exhaust pressure because your power is down overall.
Yeah, that kind of makes sense.
So like the V3, like even our V3 with that badass turbine housing, like you can rev it to 6,500 and it's done. Mm-hmm. Like if you have the boost at the highest you can get away with because you have decent fuel, you're gonna have to shift it to 6,500. You're not revving it to $7,000 or higher like the Z04. But the GTX 250, it just doesn't make the same power. So yeah, you can rev it to $7,000.
Yep.
But like these guys said, I mean, we handed the keys around to both of the GTX 250 cars, and it's kind of unanimous. It feels really lazy.
Yeah, I was very surprised. I did the same as Al. I drove it, and I was like, okay, I'm just gonna give it a real as us being biased can be towards our products. It just didn't. It wasn't fun.
No. Anyway.
Yeah.
F40s can work in Impalas, but you have to get, what is it, G6 GXP manual transmission. That's the transfer case that'll fit the 3800s.
Oh, transmission case is what you were trying to
Yeah.
say.
Yeah. I was gonna say,
Okay.
whoa,
Yeah.
that's a lot of swap.
We got transfer cases.
F40
going on.
and all-wheel drive. Okay.
Oh, he's going to do drag week. I don't know if we ever will, but I have this urge for you and I to do drag week in the Sonic.
I would love to do drag week.
There's no class that it fits in.
Not at all.
And we have to figure out how to actually make it drive better.
Well, you just hand me the keys and I'll make it drive better.
We've been down that road. I don't think you got enough hours in the day.
Yeah, it's possible.
Is that Robert Thomas that owns that ATS?
Binkowski.
Oh, okay. I'm thinking of somebody else. Another one of our customers is doing drag week in his ATS. Pretty neat.
Race tune for a CVT, wouldn't that just hold it at peak power RPM? I don't know what else.
I mean,
you
it's a
would
cool
do.
idea, but it's all money. Like, we're not working on McLarens here.
Yeah.
I mean, who's going to spend the money to put a CVT tranny in and control it?
I don't know.
and,
Has
have
there
it make
been
power?
any good CVTs in cars?
I don't know.
Not
Somebody
that
look
I
that
know
up.
of.
Like, I want to see a video now. What is the fastest CVT tranny out there?
Koenigsegg had a 1-speed trans and did all of the gearing through the converter.
Wow, that's interesting.
But that's like a multi-million-dollar car.
Yeah. I don't know. I was talking to Ryan Derrick about this. Like, nowadays the auto trannies are getting pretty awesome. Like, I have like 4 manual tranny cars right now and 1 auto. So I mean, I'm more of a manual tranny fan, but a good auto is pretty hard to beat.
When I look up the fastest CVT cars, all that comes up is
Ooh, my bad.
the Nissan
Oh,
Maxima.
it is the same person. Wait, Maxima is the fastest CVT?
Yeah.
What?
Well, that answers that question.
It's just a VQ 0. Yeah. Doesn't look like anybody. Let's see. 2012.
No viscous couplers. We connect that stuff like real men. And then
Apparently,
break the
Tyler, I don't
axles.
even know our customers' names when I tune their vehicles because you see the screen up there. Binkowski is Robert
Oh,
Thomas.
okay. Yeah.
Well, I apologize, Robert.
So this guy's got a Maxima with a turbo, and it says it's the world's fastest, but it doesn't have.
The highest
a time.
horsepower we've seen on the Z04 was 315 on the drag car. It's still a KO4 base turbo. There's nothing that's going to magically make it make 400 except for a lying dyno.
Or a 35 shot.
Yeah, maybe.
Very richly jetted.
Yeah, we might find out because I can't help myself.
So this is how he says it's the world's fastest CVT,
Oh,
because
boy.
these are the cars I've beaten: a 5.0 Mustang, a bolt-on 5th Gen SS, fully bolt-on tuned Charger RT. Oh boy.
Oh my
Uh,
goodness.
An I-35, which isn't a car, a full bolt-on 350. That's it.
Probably is the fastest CVT.
I agree with that. Like seriously.
So yeah.
I didn't know F1 ever had CVT. I will look that up sometime.
Oh yeah, I've been, and I know you watch it, Tim. T-Span, have you ever watched Formula One Drive to Survive?
I think I've seen.
Oh, it's a good
like,
show.
little clips.
I haven't
Such a
started
great
yet.
show.
It's the first probably 4 episodes took me. They're half an hour, 45-minute
Yeah.
episodes. Probably took me 6 hours because I would stop and I would just research stuff.
Yeah.
Because
Oh, I'm excited now.
The tech that goes into F1 is mind-boggling.
Al, this is like got you written all over it.
Yeah.
I think that's why I've kind of avoided it till now.
These guys have like things. Number one, they have DRS, which is the back wing that flips open on straightaways, so you get like a boost of power by reducing aero drag. Right? They Mercedes got in trouble because they had a thing to where if you push on the steering wheel, it would tow in the tires to heat the front tires up quicker.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Like these guys are constantly manipulating every rule possible. and-
Every gray area.
yes.
And so Mercedes,
genius.
They came out in 2020, and the first race, people were like, "What in the world?" And even the commentators were, because they have the helmet shot, and you'd see Lewis Hamilton come into a corner and go like this, like a pod racer, and they're like, "What is he doing?" And then the Red
He's
Bull.
pumping the nitrous tank up.
You'll have teams because Formula One, each team's car is 100% unique. There is not. This is not NASCAR. You don't have the same chassis in the same engine. Like all these cars are very unique, and you'll have teams totally knock off the winning car from last year, and these teams are so good at watching it that they'll go out for their first practice run of the year, and all of them are like scratching their heads like that car sure looks familiar.
Yep.
Like these it's pretty awesome.
It's a good show. Like just as a show itself, it's good. But then as a car guy, it's also good. There's a little bit of drama in there, but it's real. I don't know. I'm a big fan.
I heard about some fuel system cheats that blew my mind.
Yeah.
Where they were increasing fuel pressure between the reading rate of the pressure sensor.
Oh my gosh,
Talk about the tech that went into that.
man. Yeah, it's good times. Like my wife hates cars in general, and she is hooked. Like we're watching the F1 practice, qualifying in the race this weekend. Like she hates cars, but she loves F1.
Yeah, it's interesting.
But yeah, so all-wheel drive, fun, more consistent street racing. Rear-wheel drive does donuts.
Yep.
You can hang them sideways around corners. That's fun. Front-wheel drive, got some gripes, even though it's probably my favorite driveline right now. You can't really street race ever. Let's be real.
No.
Like without
Except
a
for-
full prep car.
Or
Like-
and a highway roll.
Like like a highway roll, you're okay. But like, let's say it's your legit daily driver front wheel drive car. You're not gonna win a street race. You're just
No.
not going to.
No, not from a dig at all.
A rear wheel drive car, maybe. You know, my ATS-V has launch control and fancy traction control, so like, I took it to the track and ran an 11.2 and 100% street trim.
Yeah.
And it felt like it hooked the same as it does on the street. Because I can just, like, plant both pedals and just dump the clutch and it takes off. Like, so my ATS-V runs 1120 in street trim, which is pretty awesome.
That is pretty cool.
But, an all-wheel drive car, I swear they almost run quicker.
He's got a point with the Gymkhana.
Yep.
Who does Gymkhana, though?
Other
What
than
all-wheel drive car can do donuts without breaking everything? I've broken so many transfer cases.
there is a Gymkhana series
Yeah.
that people race in.
Oh,
Oh,
my
really?
The video series is just like turned up times 10.
Oh, I didn't
There
know
are
that.
dudes that drift race Gymkhana
Yeah,
style.
it's like autocross size courses.
but they're drifting.
Yeah.
It's just-
Holy crap, that's cool.
It's
high enough horsepower that you can break all four free.
it's pretty cool to watch.
I mean, I'm sure it's very cool to watch, but
But you're right, it's nowhere
None of-
near as popular.
none of the cars I've ever owned could handle doing any of that without breaking
Oh,
everything.
yeah, exactly.
I've broken multiple transfer cases. I've broken multiple rear ends. I've broken multiple axles. Like I broke trannies, like old school DSM stuff. That they were not built for that stuff.
Oh, I bet.
Maybe your car. I've heard some stuff about STIs being strong and being able to handle this stuff.
Yeah,
but
certain
on the
years-
Yeah, depending on the year, you could definitely build it to do
was like-
something like that. But
Wasn't it early 2000s-ish is when the really good 6-speed came out?
yeah,
Bug Eye.
Yeah, it was during that initial like early 2000s that they kind of revamped everything because they were initially only had the 5-speed that was pretty much glass.
And they were trash, yeah.
And then they came out with their 6-speed, which was better. And now, like every generation, they've improved on them. So like the new 6-speed, some will argue is and isn't for different reasons. But like they're stronger. You can definitely build more horsepower and do different things with them.
Yeah.
I think the biggest benefit of the STI is the fact that like as we were talking about, some all-wheel drive cars are different. The STI, you can control your power output.
Yeah.
So like on my WRX, I'm kind of locked in at, I think, pretty close to a 50-50 power output, whereas the STI, you can actually rotate more of your power into the rear, which helps when you're doing those more extreme builds.
Now,
Right.
do you
Is the
are they different systems, or are they okay?
Yeah.
So the STI actually has a whole different drive line.
Yeah, it's a completely different, like to the point where people will buy a WRX and then they'll actually go find a junkyard STI and they'll swap everything in and rewire it. It's I forget exactly what it is, but I think it's like a DCCD.
I know what you're talking about, yeah.
But like it's something like that.
Oh, with a center diff.
Yeah, so like you've got a controllable center diff that will actually send, I think it's like an extra 20% to the rear. So you've got like 70 rear, 30 front.
Yeah, so as far as the way like the transmission and everything is laid out, the STI is more mirrored of a rear-wheel drive car.
Yep.
Whereas like an Evo is more like the F40 stuff, where it's a front-wheel drive with a takeoff.
Yep.
What have we got? Yeah, Travis is the new Gymkhana guy. Ken
Yeah.
got back into actual racing.
Yeah, that's a pretty
Which
neat.
I was happy to see him get back into real rally stuff.
I will say his particular new Subaru is barely an STI anymore. Which is
Yeah.
everything that's been custom made for
Yeah.
that thing.
Yeah.
Is that the one with the wild active arrow and stuff?
Yeah,
Yeah.
he had the active arrow made so that way he can control his flight patterns.
Yeah.
While midair.
Did
What?
you ever see that?
Yeah, it's pretty amazing.
I have it.
So
Yeah.
the wing angle is on a button on the e-brake, wasn't it?
Yeah,
There's a button somewhere where he could control the flap on the rear because they were doing the biggest jump that they'd ever done, and he needed a way to correct the pitch of the car. Mm-hmm. And so when you watch the video, you can actually see the car. I think it starts to nose up, and then he hits the button, and it throws a flap on the rear and levels out, and then lands.
It's pretty amazing. I mean,
It's-
I
It was
wish
a
I
good
had,
idea on their part.
I wish I had that on 2 of my Dune trucks. Because
Yeah, a lawn dart, anti-lawn dart button.
Oh yeah, I loved the lawn darts and Dune
what
trucks.
I forget what other car he was driving. I think it was an old Volvo station wagon or something like that. He had similar active arrow, but it was for braking.
Yeah.
He would have flaps on the fenders.
Yes.
That would flip up to help cause extra drag.
Right
So he
after
would
the
slow
rear
down
tires
real
on the
quick.
side.
Oh, that'd be cool.
It was cool, real cool. I just watched it on what's that one track? It's a classic track. It's got the hay bales on the sides.
Goodwood?
Yes.
Yeah, yep.
He does a lap in the Legacy.
Yeah.
In the Legacy with the active arrow. It's a really neat. It's a neat lap.
Yeah, Goodwood always looks really sketchy.
Oh, it
'Cause
is
it's-
full sketchy.
There's just like 20 hay bales along the whole thing, and then there's people 100 feet on the side,
Yeah.
and these dudes are getting it through there.
Yeah. Yeah, it's definitely fun to watch.
Ah, I see. Well, yeah, I'm glad we were able to, I think, answer your question, Log Trimmer. As far as we can tell so far, they're holding up pretty well.
Yeah.
We
Yep.
plan on finding that limit. That's why I said Blue Car may make a little more power this winter. But I guess we'll have to just wait and see.
I've got a lot of auto 1.4 cars out there that are fast, and I haven't had anybody complaining about tranny issues.
No.
Out of the ATSs, I have a lot of Z57, 7163 ATSs out there too, making a lot of power. And I've only had one guy have a tranny problem. But that one guy that had the tranny problem has been making that power for many years.
A long time. Yeah.
Many years. So it's the auto tranny's come a long ways. It's
Yeah.
not a
It's
not
not
a
a-
4T60 or a 4L65 like
So what you're saying is we need to swap a Sonic 6-speed into a 3800. 'Cause it'll be better
Maybe. Might be.
probably.
What if that was the solution?
Oh man. Man, it would be terrible.
Now,
Or maybe a 6050
yeah, I don't know.
What's that in?
Tracks.
terrain.
Terrain?
Tracks. Yeah.
Oh really? The track's got the bigger tranny?
I think it's just upgraded internals, but
That's,
Now okay. So as far as the all-wheel drive stuff goes, if I was going to all-wheel drive swap a Delta, it probably would just be with a or a Terrain Equinox drivetrain, and rig up some type of paddle shifter for it, because
Yeah.
it would. The whole reason of doing that build would just be for something unique and kind of fun, and so I'm sure that system would handle enough power to be fun to drive. It's not going to be anything crazy fast. You're not going to do any racing with it. But yeah, it would be pretty cool to take a Saturn Ion out in the snow or take it out to the lake races in the winter, something like that.
ice racing. I've always wanted to do
I
ice
really
racing.
want to do ice racing.
That's going to be
That's
on
a
the plans
thing
this year.
around here,
Yeah?
in case you
Yeah.
guys didn't know.
I wanted to go last year, and then they ended up canceling both events that I was.
Because
looking
they
at.
have no stud classes, right?
Yep.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That
Yeah,
sounds like
they're-
incredibly frustrating fun.
The
Yes.
couple local ones actually didn't allow studs.
Yeah, Fern Group.
I imagine
does
you could
ones
only run
without
so many
studs.
laps on studs before the ice is going to not be there
Yeah,
anymore.
it's more of like we're all just gonna race across at the same time.
yeah.
I know Grid Life has done an ice battle a couple times, but they go really far north, so stuff is really, really frozen over.
Yeah.
Because Fern Group does one I think in north of Muskegon was the one last year that they had planned.
Yeah, there was one there, then there was another one like towards a central area.
Yeah,
of
towards
Michigan,
Lansing.
That wasn't.
But
Oh,
they were
also-
too warm.
There are
Yeah.
places in the state that do rallycross.
That's where all-wheel drive would win.
And that does look fun.
Well, keep in mind, like Rally has front-wheel drive classes,
Yeah.
all-wheel drive
Yeah,
classes, and
yeah.
rear-wheel drive classes. So I mean, you could totally do it front-wheel drive. We've got some customers that have like Sonics in the Rallycross.
Yeah, Charlie, one of our customers, knows it's Brent Heidelberg or something like that. But he's got that black Sonic that he rallycrosses.
I did not know of this.
Oh yeah,
Yep.
I think he actually just posted one of the groups today.
Yeah, I would like to do a nice race
Ice
with
Badger.
the Sonic.
The Ice
So,
Badger.
if you're gonna do something like that, let me know. That'll be fun.
Oh yeah, I'm definitely gonna be watching for them.
Yeah. You know, the old Sonic will do pretty well at that.
Yeah.
Now, would you want LSD or not?
I don't know.
I don't see why you wouldn't want LSD.
Because then when you're on ice and you turn and punch it, you go straight. At least if it's open diff,
I
you're
mean,
going to have
they're-
one tire trying to guide you.
They're pulling in the direction you want to go.
Yeah. As long as you got good snow tires, you might be all right.
I mean, if both tires are turned in the same direction and only one spin, you're still kind of going that direction.
Kind of. But then the rear's going to slide too. This sounds like a lot of fun.
It
Yeah.
does. And
I've
it would
been
give us
meaning
something
to.
to do in the winter.
Yeah.
And low consequence other than falling through. And what are you going to hit? There's no trees out on a lake.
Other than falling through.
Yeah.
I'm
I
pretty
mean,
sure they
that's-
do their checks before.
Well,
but
yeah, I'm just saying worst case scenario.
You just go.
Like if you go into a corner 8 times too fast, you just slide till you stop.
That's
Yeah,
what
just blow through the curb of snow.
you let
Yeah.
some like luxury Audi go out first because you know they're like 1,000 pounds heavier than you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And if they're good, we're fine.
Then we're fine. Yeah.
Then you're good.
The Sonic could probably just float on whatever chunk it breaks off.
And there you go. We'll see you when we thaw out.
Yeah.
Spec base on the ice. There we go. I was
man.
going to go last year with Noah was going to go to one of the ice races, and I was just going to take the base model on its snow tires and I don't
Yeah.
know, hoon
I
it
mean,
around.
on the snow, power is no advantage.
No,
No.
So like base model would be completely fine.
totally fine.
Like
Yeah, Dan Brown. RPF ones for the win, man. Inky RPF ones. Those 17x9s are 15.9 pounds apiece.
It's only stupid if it don't work.
Yep.
People complain about RPF ones being overdone, but it's because they're such a incredibly useful wheel.
they
and
are
they look good.
pounds lighter than every other wheel available.
And they look acceptable on almost any car.
Yeah.
Yep.
No, they're not the most amazing looking wheel ever, but they look good enough.
I think the only thing that deters me is the fact that they're just everywhere.
Yeah, and
that's about
I
it.
understand that aspect of it, but if
Like
you're
you can't put them on your car. Your car's way too nice to put a set
I
of
mean,
RPF ones
they,
on.
They do look good, but the fact that like you go to any sort of car meet or
Yeah.
anywhere where a bunch of Subarus are together, guaranteed 40% of them have RPF ones.
yeah.
So like that's just me. I want to be a little more
Yeah.
unique than that.
So
Yeah.
you can go with the PFO one, which looks very similar, but it's just enough different that you can tell it's different.
Ad van for life here.
Yeah, but
just-
yes, he did re-drill them because you can't
Yeah.
get a RPF one in a 5x105.
No.
What a dumb wheel pattern.
But the hub on the RPF one makes it really easy to re-drill them. So
Yeah.
no big deal.
No, yours
It's center hub. Like, don't do it the way I did it, but like
Yeah.
add another set of holes.
Tim did it in literally the most complicated way possible.
Boy, what was that? Like a 3-month project?
Yes, yes, it was.
because what they filled them and then re-drilled them.
No,
Oh.
I had them.
Oh, shut up, Randy.
Well, yeah, that is true. I mean, I'd love to put a set of ad vans on it,
I didn't say he was wrong. I just said shut up.
but yeah, like
Now I'm curious. How did you do it?
okay, so they were
Here we go.
They were 5 on 100.
Okay.
So I egged the 5 on 100 out to 5 on 105.
Uh-huh.
And then I machined them out large enough to fit a washer. And then I used the style of lug nut that has a 6-point head and then the shank that goes through the washer, through the wheel, and then I got hub-centric rings. So, I mean, it works. It works fine, but it's a pain in the butt to, like, take them on and
Oh, I
off.
bet.
He
Yeah.
has to use a washer to change his wheels.
Yeah, like,
Yep.
it's not fun. I would have just drilled a new set of holes out if I was to do it again.
Yeah.
But, like I said, RPF 1s are pounds lighter
they
a piece
are
than
insanely
any
light.
other wheel out there. If you can, like, my rule is, if you can be at a pound per inch, you're good to go.
Yep.
And that is rare.
That is rare.
Yeah.
Like a 17x9, look anywhere. They're 19 to 20 pounds. Let's be real. An RPF 1 is 15.9.
Yeah.
That's
light.
pretty killer.
And the couple RPF ones that I've actually like seen and dealt with, they're actually lighter than they even advertise them as,
Yeah. Yep, mine were.
which is crazy.
Hey.
15.9 for a 17x9 is absolutely insane.
Yeah, I've thought about switching to those on the Ion for half mile, just because of the rotating weight.
Yeah.
And with what I'm trying to do with the car,
Ounces make
every ounce matters.
Well, it's already 4:55, and I know you got to get out of here ASAP.
Yup.
So if anyone has any questions, let us know. What's everybody doing this weekend?
I am going all over the Midwest. Not really. I'm going to Elyria, Ohio, the state that no one likes, tonight. Year ago, lost a good friend in a motorcycle accident, and we're having the first year memorial party for him this weekend. Not excited about that, obviously, but very excited to go see those friends again. Then Sunday morning, I'm leaving Ohio at 5:30 in the morning so that I can come back to bench with a guy here on the other side of Michigan. Then back to Grand Rapids to take a nap. Then I'm going up to Mount Pleasant to squat with some other really strong guys. Then back home, and then Monday morning going to Kalamazoo to train with some other guys. And so I should get a good 500-600 miles in this weekend.
Yeah, that cruise is gonna see some.
I'm
see some highway.
I'm gonna try to hypermile the Yeti and see how good
Oh,
Tim's
dude, that'll
tune
be
is.
fun.
Yeah.
That'll be fun. You should tease people with what it made the other day.
That's gonna make
Our
a
next
really
video.
long drive.
I'm going to beat the blue car record with that car. You know that, right?
Until I get on the dyno.
Tim, what are you doing?
Not really much. I don't have anything. Like, I'm going to play around with the base model a little bit.
There we
I'm
go.
trying to figure some stuff out there. But, dial some Cobalt suspension stuff in and hang out with family.
Nice.
Pretty much it.
T-Spain?
I've got a friend who's back home for a little while visiting, so we're gonna go out, spend some time together. Then I think tomorrow morning calls for a couple hours worth of wheel detailing.
Ooh, nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've got the new brakes.
That's
up.
something I'll never do in my life.
I mean, I put way too many hours into my brakes, getting them resurfaced, repainted, and I'm trying to take care of them.
That's
at least
fair.
for this season.
At least you have a reason for spending time on your wheels. 'Cause
Yeah, those
you
calipers
already
do
spent
look
so much
good.
time on your brakes.
Yeah, I
Clean those calipers, too.
Jason, I just told you what I was driving tonight. Rewind.
Jason, how's that M62 with the gigantic throat on it feel?
It drove. He
It-
sent
yeah,
me videos.
I saw that. Yeah.
Did he cut an inlet off and, like, put a big inlet on?
Yeah, I'm not going to spill all his secrets on the podcast, but I'll show you some later.
All right. Well, that's awesome.
It's pretty cool.
It is.
I'm
There's
very-
a reason Jason holds the records,
Yeah.
and it's evident.
As for me, I don't know what we're doing. I think we might have a bonfire tonight. Then Saturday we're going over to Flint, and my grandma, is having a 94th birthday party. So
Are
we're
you
gonna have a little-
carrying when you go to Flint?
going to Grand Blanc, so it's not as bad.
at the very least he's probably bringing his own water.
It's legal to carry Hornet spray, and that stuff sprays 20 feet. I'm just saying.
Man,
Hornet spray.
that's going to deter somebody for sure.
Maybe I'll
Yeah.
carry some pocket sand like we talked
Pocket
about
sand.
yesterday.
Hold on. We talked about this, and it was just dawning on me that pocket sand there are much worse self-defense tools to have on hand. Especially if you mix some chili powder in it or something.
Oh, my goodness.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
like
good luck finding me after I throw some chili powder pocket sand in your face.
Somebody comes up, give me your wallet.
Dude, pocket sand with chili powder and then a sucker punch right after.
Yeah, like
That sounds amazing.
I've heard worse combos.
And on that beautiful note, we'll call it for today. Thanks for joining us, everybody.
See you later, guys.
Have a good long weekend. Oh,
Yep.
we're closed Monday, so if you call or email, we're not here. Bye.
Yeah.
I thought the second